Welcome to the sixth and final section of your CHPS exam preparation course, focusing on advanced scenarios and true exam readiness. In this lesson, you will learn how to synthesize everything we have covered and apply it to the complex, multi-layered questions you will actually face on test day. This is incredibly important because the certification exam does not just test simple memorization. It tests your ability to think like a seasoned privacy and security professional in high-stakes situations. Get ready to tackle real-world case studies. Understand how multiple laws overlap. And discover proven test-taking strategies. Prepare yourself for this final review, as this critical knowledge will push you across the finish line and ensure you are fully equipped for success. To truly gauge your readiness as you finish this material, I highly recommend utilizing our practice tests or the offline app, which are excellent educational tools to simulate the real exam experience. The CHPS exam is famous for testing your ability to connect different domains together. You will rarely see a question that only asks about one isolated policy. Instead, you will see questions that combine administrative policies with technical safeguards and legal reporting requirements all at once. For example, a scenario might describe a technical failure that leads to a breach, and you will have to determine the administrative response. You must train your brain to see the entire compliance picture, rather than focusing on just one single piece of the puzzle. The vast majority of the challenging questions on the exam will present a detailed, real-world scenario. You must read these scenarios incredibly carefully, identifying the core issue, the specific actors involved, and the underlying regulatory requirement. A common mistake candidates make is bringing their own real-world workplace habits into the exam room. You must remember that the exam is testing you on strict, perfect world HIPAA guidelines, not necessarily what you informally do at your current job. Exam questions frequently ask you to choose the best or most appropriate answer among several options that all seem partially correct. Often, multiple choices will look like good ideas, but only one option strictly aligns with the federal requirements. When faced with these tricky questions, always go back to the fundamental goals of the privacy and security rules. Choose the answer that provides the highest level of patient protection and complies perfectly with the written legal standard. Analyzing a complex breach scenario is a guaranteed part of your test. Imagine a scenario where an employee's unencrypted flash drive containing a patient list is stolen from their car. The exam might ask for the very first step the organization should take, while notifying the patients is eventually required by law. The immediate first step must always be executing the incident response plan to contain the damage and begin the formal risk assessment. You must clearly understand the role of the privacy and security officer in relation to executive leadership. You will likely see scenarios where the hospital's board of directors pushes back on security funding because it is too expensive. You must know how to translate complex technical risks into understandable business impacts to gain that executive support. The exam heavily tests your ability to act as an effective leader and advocate for compliance at the highest corporate levels. Advanced vendor management issues are a massive focus for the 2026 exam blueprint. A common advanced scenario involves a business associate experiencing a massive cyber attack. The exam will test your knowledge that the business associate must immediately report the breach to your organization. Depending on the specific language in the business associate agreement, you must know who holds the ultimate legal responsibility for mailing the notification letters to the affected patients. To practice analyzing these exact types of complex business agreements, I suggest using our practice tests or the offline app, as they offer highly relevant scenario-based questions to solidify your understanding. Handling conflicting state and federal laws is a scenario you must master perfectly. We discussed state preemption earlier, but advanced questions will give you specific conflicting timelines. If HIPAA allows 30 days to respond to a medical records request, but a new state law says you must respond in 10 days, the 10-day rule automatically applies. Always choose the path that is more stringent and provides greater, faster privacy rights to the patient. Information governance and the data lifecycle will appear in scenarios involving old computer systems. If a hospital closes a specific clinic or upgrades to a brand new software system, the old electronic data cannot simply be abandoned. You must know the legal requirements for securely migrating the data to the new system, or creating a secure archive for legacy patient records. Simply leaving old servers plugged in the closet without security patches is a massive, testable violation. Audits and external investigations can happen without warning, and the exam wants to know how you will react. If the Office for Civil Rights sends a formal letter demanding documentation of your security practices, what is your first move? The exam expects you to recognize that you must coordinate immediately with legal counsel and executive leadership, while rapidly gathering your perfectly organized compliance documentation. You should never attempt to handle a federal investigation alone. Medical device security is a highly tested modern scenario involving the Internet of Medical Things. Devices like wireless pacemakers or smart infusion pumps are notoriously difficult to protect, because you cannot simply install standard antivirus software on them. You must know that network segmentation is the best technical safeguard in this scenario. Placing these vulnerable medical devices on their own isolated network separates them from the standard Internet-connected hospital computers. The rapid expansion of telehealth has introduced completely new privacy scenarios to the exam. You must deeply understand the risks associated with doctors working from remote home offices. The exam will test your knowledge of secure, encrypted video conferencing platforms, and the importance of ensuring patients have absolute privacy in their own homes during virtual visits. Telehealth requires a perfect blend of technical encryption and administrative training. Employee use of social media is a massive risk and a popular exam topic. An advanced scenario might involve a well-meaning nurse taking a selfie in the hospital hallway, but a patient's medical chart is clearly visible in the background. You must know exactly how to apply the organization's sanction policy consistently, and take immediate steps to mitigate the unauthorized disclosure by getting the photo deleted. The minimum necessary standard will be tested through complex clinical workflows. You might be asked to evaluate a new software configuration that grants every hospital employee equal access to the entire electronic health record by default, simply to speed up operations. You must immediately flag this as a direct violation of the minimum necessary standard. The correct exam answer will always involve designing role-based access controls to limit what each user can see. Complexities surrounding the accounting of disclosures are guaranteed to appear. Remember that disclosures made for treatment, payment, and healthcare operations are totally exempt from the tracking log. An exam question might list 4 different data sharing events and ask which specific one must be recorded. You must perfectly differentiate between routine hospital billing and external events like mandatory public health reporting or law enforcement requests. De-identification of patient data is a critical concept when dealing with medical research. If researchers want to use a massive database of patient files without getting individual patient authorization, that data must be fully de-identified first. The exam will test your knowledge of the safe harbor method, which requires removing 18 specific identifiers, such as names, dates, and zip codes, to render the data completely anonymous. Cloud computing and storage present unique geographical and technical challenges. When a hospital moves its sensitive data to a massive cloud provider, the physical location and security of those off-site servers become your responsibility. You must ensure the cloud vendor signs a business associate agreement and provides absolute guarantees about data encryption, backup availability, and rapid incident response times. As you tackle these lengthy scenario questions, always employ smart test-taking strategies to save time. One of the best strategies is to read the very final sentence of the question first. This final sentence tells you exactly what the question is actually asking, before you get bogged down in the lengthy details of the scenario. Knowing the goal beforehand makes reading the full scenario much easier and faster. Dealing with exam fatigue is a real challenge, as the CHPS exam is long and mentally exhausting. Pace yourself carefully. Flag any questions you are unsure about, and return to them later when your brain has processed more information. Trust your initial instincts and your training, because overthinking often leads to changing a correct answer to an incorrect one. Absolute confidence in your preparation is your ultimate tool on test day. Congratulations on successfully completing this final section of the course. You have mastered the most advanced scenarios and are now armed with the critical thinking skills needed to conquer the exam. I strongly encourage you to complete the attached practice tests, or download our offline app to measure your true readiness and identify any final areas for review. Working through practice questions will dramatically improve your long-term retention and overall exam readiness. The full practice tests and offline app access are included right here with this lesson, so take advantage of them to reinforce your active learning dynamically. Keep up this fantastic momentum as you naturally transition into the next phase of your professional certification journey. And I wish you the absolute best of luck.